March. My name is Simba Kiage. There's a lot that we're going to go through. I'm not alone. Ian Keitany is right here. Ian Keitany, how are you doing?
I'm doing very good, Simba. It's been a long time without you around.
Yep.
But like I said, it's safe to say welcome back.
That's it. Guess what? A lot has gone on. A lot of developments that we're going to talk about today. The hunger situation in the country continues. The rains have been neither here nor there, you can't say. Keitany apparently it rained on Sunday, right here in the city. Even right here at Lavington.
Safe to say, it's a few places.
Yeah.
Because where I stay, there was no rain in South Bay, apparently. So I'm like, I was listening to people say it rained. So I'm like, where did it rain?
Where?
Because I didn't see any. The last time I saw, the heavens opening, I was back in Elgeyo Marakwet County. Yeah. Which is last year.
Oof. So since last year, you've not seen rain?
I have not seen rain.
Yeah, it needs to rain.
But I always see it anyway.
What is it?
But talking about whatever is happening, there's one specific thing that bothers me a lot. The fact that there are residents from a few selected areas from the banditry-prone Rift Valley region, that is Samburu, Laikipia, Turkana, West Pokot, Baringo, and Elgeyo Marakwet. Guys in those regions, or those selected areas, were told to vacate within 24 hours. But now, my biggest concern was, how do you tell people to vacate within 24 hours if you've not given them a place to go to?
Yeah.
Where will those people go to?
Where are they going?
Where will they, get food, get shelter, get water?
Yeah.
So to me, and as much as the government is trying to deal with matters in security and banditry in those parts, the government ought to have, had a proper plan so that when you're telling people to vacate a place, you have a place for them to go. You can maybe say, you can host them somewhere, be it in schools, because schools are closed, but they are just a place. Because while I was doing that particular story yesterday in the evening, it's a sad state of affairs, because at the end of the day, they're moving. Yeah. They don't know where they're going to, but they have to move because they are told if you'll be found in those particular areas after the lapse of the 24 hours notice, you will be treated as a suspect of armed banditry. Yeah. So where do they go? Where do they go? And I think this is something that the Ministry of Interior and the government at large, they really have to address. Simba.
Part of those stories we're going to talk about this morning, and the news that now priests, maybe Keitany, once we get there, you'll be talking to me about this. Priests are open to getting married. I don't know what law in the church they'll be breaking, because I'm not really conversant with that particular one. Maybe Keitany will come back and tell us exactly why this is a very hot conversation now, because you did see the Pope trend yesterday saying, well, gotta have kids. The Bible says. Anyway. Once we come back in. So we're online at Lookuptv across all your social media platforms. I am at Simba. Ian Keitany, where you at?
Of course, at Ian Keitany across all the social media platforms.
All right, we take a tiny breather right here. Once we come back, I'll be taking you straight to the newsroom where we get to look at the biggest stories that you are waking up to this morning. Ultimatum to vacate certain areas in parts of the banditry-prone Rift Valley region lapses. Thousands of locals in West Pokot, Samburu and Turkana counties have been left stranded, not knowing where to go amid rising tensions in the region. Ian Keitany now reports.
Close to a month after KDF officers supplemented efforts by NPS officers in fighting bandits in the North Rift region, tension is still high in the area. The Ministry of Interior yesterday gave an ultimatum to residents of selected areas to vacate their homes in 24 hours to enable KDF officers battle the armed bandits.
To give a 24-hour notice, ultimatum, we have ordered anybody in the places that I have mentioned, everyone must get out between now and tomorrow morning. And any person who is found in the places I have mentioned after tomorrow morning will be dealt with as a bandit suspect.
Hundreds of residents today fled their homes, hoping not to be found on the wrong side of crossfire between the bandits and the security officers.
Samburu West, muguni ponye, na hatujui tunaelekea wapi. Mheshimiwa Kindiki alikuja hapa, aliongea maneno yote, lakini mpaka saizi hakuna kitu linafanyika. Sisi bado tunauliwa tu. Right now we are heading to Suguta. Hatujui ni nini inaendelea huko.
So kwa leo sisi kama Samburu West hapo area ya Longewan tumeweza kuhama. Tunaelekea saidi Suguta na pia bado hatujajua yale ambayo yatafanyika tunapozidi kwenda mbele.
Despite obeying the ultimatum, most of them remained stranded, not knowing where to go. Some of them blaming the government for their ooze.
Natoroka hapa kwa sababu serikali anakuja kupiga mimi na serikali. Na Pokot pamoja na Pokot. Na kujanga hapa. Nakuja kupika mimi.
Ajui mahali unaenda. Unaenda tu mahali na wewe. Unaama juu ya Pokot na serikali. Serikali imepika mama na sisi unataka na kitu sote. Unabeba mtoto, sasa mtoto unabeba na mbesiko.
Some of the residents decried that despite the KDF officers camping in the area, armed bandits continued to cause havoc, claiming discrimination from the officers.
Kuna bandits wa Pokot ambao wanasumbua watu, wanaua pia. Na bado serikali inaweza kuwachangia ama kuona ni sisi ambao tuko na makosa, ili hali ni wa Pokot ambao wako na makosa mingi sana ya kuweza kuua watu. Leo kuna watu ambao wawili ambao walikuwa wanazikwa. Tena leo unapata kuna huyo mama ameuawa. So unapata kwa wiki, kila wiki kuna vifo ambao watu ambao wanauawa.
Even as the residents flee their homes, the big question remains, where will they move to? How did the government arrive at an ultimatum without considering where the residents will go? And as the situation worsens, will the government send support to those who have fled their homes?
It's a sad story right there. Hopefully then the government finds a solution to this problem. Now, Director of Public Prosecutions, Nordina Haji, has directed the Directorate of Criminal Investigations, DCI, to close a case file against the former Interior Cabinet Secretary, Fred Matiang'i. As our reporter Samia Dika reports, the DPP through a letter stated that the two charges against Matiang'i lack enough evidence.
The besieged former Interior CS Fred Matiang'i, whom spent more than 7 hours at the DCI headquarters last week, now has a reason to smile. This is after the DPP Nordin Haji directed the DCI boss Mohamed Amin to drop all the charges against Matiang'i. The DPP stated that the case file that was produced by the DCI charging Matiang'i with 2 offences lacks sufficient evidence to sustain the charges. Last week, Matiang'i engaged the investigative officers at the DCI in drama where he spent about 6 hours at the DCI headquarters as he was charged with conspiracy to commit felony and publication of false information. Matiang'i's hope could be attributed to a last week's meeting between President William Ruto and 3 members of parliament from Kisii County, a meeting that was aimed at solving Matiang'i's matter. But the big question that begs, were the summons and theatrics at Matiang'i's residence obeying the tandems in pursuing crime committed?
Azimio Party leader Raila Amolo Odinga has accused President William Ruto of abating tribalism in the country. As our reporter Shada Karia now reports, Odinga, who spoke in Kilifi County, accused the president of appointing only members of the Kalenjin community to plumb jobs in government. Let's take a look.
The Azimio Supremo Raila Odinga continued his anti-government rallies in the coastal region, pitching tent at Mtwapa in Kilifi County. Odinga used the platform to criticize the government, firing salvo to President William Ruto, accusing him of promoting ethnicity in the country. by only appointing those from his tribe to the top jobs in the country.
Alipokuwa anafanya kampeni alijua kila kona ya Kenya. Lakini sasa ile yeye anaajiri watu hajui Kenya sasa. Kabila yake peke yake. Kabila yake peke yake. Kabila yake peke yake. Kabila yake peke yake ndio inalitoa ushuru hapa Kenya hii. We are all stakeholders in one united Kenya. And therefore we cannot tolerate discrimination of people of Kenya on the basis of ethnicity. Kila Mkenya ana haki katika taifa hii. Kama wewe unataka kuleta ukabila hapa, tutakutoa pale, tutakuweka rudisha wewe nyumbani. Toka hapo.
Odinga and his allies directed their arsenals to the president, accusing him of disobeying the constitution, as he urged his supporters to gather in the streets of Nairobi on 20th for demonstrations.
Simuko tayari wana Kenya? Simuko tayari? Au mnaoga? Mnaoga? Sisi kama wanaazimio tumesema kila kitu tunataka kufanya italingana na sheria. Itakuwa kwa mujibu ya sheria ya Kenya.
Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua's address to the nation was served hot here. The Azimio Brigade accusing the DP of supporting what they termed as discrimination and referring the country to a private company.
Yani mtu mzima anasema kazi yako ni kutoa mtu wa Azimio pale unamrudisha nyuma. Na Kenya iko na kampuni wenye hisa vile ndugu Raila ameeleza. Kwa hivyo tutaandamana. Wangapi tayari kuandamana?
The leaders warned the government against using the police officers to distract what they termed as a peaceful demonstrations.
Tarehe 20. Tarehe 20. Thubutu kusubua wa Kenya wanapoandamana kwa njia amani. ICC bado inafanya nini? Inakugoja. Halo? Tuko pamoja?
Wasimame kando, wa Kenya wachukue jukumu lao la kusafisha nchi yetu. Ujumbe kwa William Ruto, funga virago na kuondoka State House.
Shedra Kareria, Lookuptv.
Supporters allied to the Azimio la Umoja Wana Kenya coalition Monday took to the streets, heading to the call for mass action by the Azimio leader Raila Amolo Odinga. The protests brought businesses to a standstill in Migori for the better part of Monday morning. The protesters blocked roads in town, decrying the high cost of living. Similar action was taken in Nyandarua County, where the Azimio supporters called for the government to step aside if they are unable to deal with the issues affecting Kenyans.
Migori town was on Monday morning brought to a standstill after Azimio supporters took to the streets with anti-government demonstrations. Angry residents carrying twigs, empty sufurias and cooking sticks converged around Migori town bridge, blocking the roads.
Toka State House. Leo tumeanza, ikifika tarehe 20 tunakuja hapo vile baba ataingia State House, sisi tunajua. Tunasema mambo ya unga lazima irudi chini. Hatuwezi kanja na hii nchi yetu. Tunatoa tax. Mambo ya IBC tunasema wachana nayo. Mambo ya kufungua sava lazima ufungue. Kama unajua ya kwamba umeulishinda, fungua sava tujue wewe ni president ama wewe ni nani. Na tunasema without Raila no Kenya.
We are, as Migori people, we are doing zoezi. This is just an exercise. We are coming for you in Nairobi, Mr. Rigathi. We want to meet you personally. Mr. William Ruto, kindly open this server if you know you won this election. And if you can't open it, we are going to get into the State House as the people of Kenya with the sovereign power in our hand.
Mimi kama wini wa Migori, kama mata, mimi ni mimata ya Migori. Hatutaki mambo ya bottom up. Eti unataka eti matako ikuwe juu na kichwa ikuwe nyuma. Hiyo maneno tutaki mambo ya bottom up. Tunasikia njaa. Wamama tunaumia. Hata mimi nimebeba hapa sufuria. Unga. Bei ya unga imesinda bei ya sufuria.
In Nyandarua, residents called on the audit of IBC servers to shed light on what happened in the general election, while castigating the government for creating positions at the expense of suffering Kenyans.
Tunasema server ifunguliwe. Hakuna server ilifunguliwa, barua iko na tunataka kujua ni nini iko ndani. Kama UDA walishinda, waitane asubuhi, ifunguliwe kila mtu aone, tuachane na hiyo maneno. Kama kwa sababu wanajua hakuna kitu walishinda, ndio kusudi wanalialia isifunguliwe. Lazima ifunguliwe na ni lazima ifunguliwe.
Tumeumia sana. In fact tangu Ruto achukue hii kiti uongozi ya president, maumivu ndio imekuwa mengi. Sisi kama wamama hata tunashindwa kuzaa. Mzee akikwambia unataka mtoto unamuuliza akikuja nimpe nini? Pali tumefikia tutaweka blanketi kwa jiko, tuambie watoto gojeeni hii nyama itemke. Ili hali unajua yeye mwenyewe ni blanketi. Aliahidi ati akikaria kiti kila kitu itashuka. Saa hizi hakuna kitu inashuka, ili hali inapanda. Tumeumia kabisa kama Wakenya. Yeye alisema gasi itaanguka. Swali langu ni gasi ikishuka tutawekelea maji tupea watoto wakunywa ama tutapika nini? Gasi imeshuka, unanunua gasi ni vizuri, unawekelea nini? Unapika nini?
The protest come after Azimio leader Raila Odinga called on Kenyans to heed to his call for mass action on 20th of March.
Former Vice President Mudi Awori has called on President William Ruto and the opposition to work toward bettering the lives of Kenyans. Awori lamented that the time for politicking is over and urged those who were elected to work for Kenyans. Let's take a look.
Kenya Kwanza won the elections on its manifesto, and the manifesto emphasized the interest of the ordinary mwananchi. And I'm delighted to see that that is where the direction is going. And the direction is going because we need unity. Side shows, we want to leave them. Elections are gone. Kenya Kwanza is in place. And let it follow its manifesto. Let us always root together. Let us always ensure that the Constitution is respected and all will be well.
All right, that particular story right there marks the end of our news this morning. Ian Keitany is still with us here, by the way. Ian Keitany, uliona hiyo gari ilikuwa imesimama hapo karibu na Awori?
Zona nesha mashini bana.
Mashini.
Sasa labda iko tu, labda iko tu hapo. Hata hindi mahali.
Iko tu hapo.
Ni kwenda kanisa tu.
Lakini yaosha nyuma. Mbona iko na cobwebs all over.
So it's safe to say that is one of my dream cars, but still have a long way to get there, but one day, inshallah.
Inshallah.
Yes.
70, 75 is not far.
Yeah?
80, 81 is not far.
Not really.
Could be.
That's too far.
It's 80 plus years, isn't it?
Not really.
Uh-huh.
Are you saying the age that I'll have those cars? Or?
Yeah. 80, 81, 82?
No.
Okay. Wish you the very best, but
if everything goes according to plan and God allows, by the time I'm around 55.
Okay.
Yes.
That's it. Anyway, guys, we take a tiny breather right here on Lookuptv as we wait for Keitany to give us 20. I'll come. Just call me anytime you want to write somewhere. All right. Take a tiny breather. Once we come back, some of the stories that we've spoken about this morning are going to take center stage on our newspaper review. Right here, the hashtag is the morning drift. I'm at Keitany And Simba. Ian Keitany, where are you at?
So the social media platforms.
Once we come back.
Are you a junior secondary school, a college, a TVET institution or a university and you want to advertise your intake? Book now and advertise with us today on both Lookuptv and all our digital platforms. Call us today on 011 0430 158, 011 0430 158 or email us on sales@lookuptv.co.ke.
Utachagua sura au tabia unapotaka kumchumbia mwanamke?
Anaweza kuwa mrembo lakini hana tabia.
Naweza jifanya ndio hata kama hapa sitapata, nipate kwa tabia.
Ukweli wa mambo ni kwamba wanaume wengi, hata wale ambao wanatutazama wakati huu, ni sura inawavutia mara ya kwanza.
Ukiona mwanaume anasema ule dem ako poa, ule dem, hafikirii future na huyo dem. Huyu mwenye ako poa anapendeza, anakaa vizuri,
wacha kutudanganya.
Wajua waweza kuwa na tabia nzuri lakini ikabadilishwa na hali. Kanisani wanja ndugu yangu waimba kwaya, wakishuka wakipanga masika, na hao ndugu hawachukui.
Lazima nikae na wewe kwa muda fulani. Nikusome, nikujue kindani sana.
Kuna uchunguzi aina mbili ndugu yangu, kuna uchunguzi wa polisi na wa CID. Kama kuna mtu ambaye ana ujuzi wa hali ya juu ya kujifanya na kukusoma akili yako na kukufanya wewe uamini kile unachotaka kutoka kwake, ni mwanamke.
Are you a resident of Nairobi? Are you ready for the biggest TV roadshow? Lookuptv and Muthingi TV will be coming to an estate near you, starting on the 30th of March to the 2nd of April. Want to be part of this brand experiential and promotion opportunity? Contact us on 0110 430 158 or email us at sales@lookuptv.co.ke. Connect with us at Lookuptv on all our social media platforms or visit our website lookuptv.co.ke for more exclusive content and the latest news updates. You can also watch our programs on Signet.
Welcome back. This is the Morning Drifts. Thank you very much for joining us this morning. We are looking at what is trending on your newspapers this morning. Wow, 2 days off. I'm still feeling a bit off. Ian Keitany, good morning, man.
Good morning to you, Simba.
Now they say that let's take a tiny breather. I've been thinking about this statement. It's not a breather, is it?
Not a breather, Simba.
What happens behind the cameras, sorry to say, is that we chat a lot. Get a lot of things into perspective, you know? It's not a breather. Even when we say, let me go for a break, it's never a break. We're still on it. The only time we have a break, sorry to say, is after 9:30 today.
Yeah.
Yeah, as it's going to be. Ian Keitany is going to step shortly out. It's not like he's going to be sitting waiting. He's going to be doing a lot of work if he comes back on air as well.
Yes.
I think we need to be telling our viewers the truth. Guys, we're going to sit here and wait for a commercial break and then come back. Yeah?
Definitely.
Anyway, there's a lot that is happening in the newspapers this morning. I do have the Standard. Keitany, I'll bet we start with the Daily Nation and see exactly what is trending over the other side.
Yeah, definitely. And on the Daily Nation today, and I believe it's a story that's making headlines across all the dailies this particular morning, is that the deal that saved Matiang'i, that is what the Daily Nation are calling it, trouble. There's a meeting that they say sought to quell tension in Gusiland, because we do know what happened with Matiang'i in the past couple of weeks. When he was at the DCI, he was held for 6-7 hours, and Raila Odinga tried to get into the DCI headquarters, but he was denied entry. And they say he revealed 4 days after a meeting between 3 MPs and President William Ruto, brokered a ceasefire. The Directorate of Public Prosecutions yesterday declared the former Cabinet Secretary a free man, saying he had no case to answer.
Yeah.
Do you believe he had no case to answer?
You know what they say, Keitany? You never really know the complete picture until you really know the complete picture.
Definitely.
You know? That's what I'm going to say. You never really know the complete picture until you actually get the complete picture. Because now, all of a sudden, there's been a lot of communication around this particular story. In the first one, we did say that Matiang'i was part of the charges that was going to answer at the DCI is the source of his wealth, is running within the government. But on that particular day, you did see that charge sheet. Just if you read the footnote, it said that I have obtained this information without coercing or forcing the victim to give me this. Guess what? It was empty. It was only charged on 2 counts, you know, back then, which essentially has now been thrown out. So he's a free man right now. So you wonder, Keitany, what is this saga that we were treated to in just a couple of weeks ago, where we thought this is a mammoth case, you know, and we're going to see a lot that's going to come out of it. Turns out, nothing, and I'm saying nothing in quotes, because, and I'll tell you, I do not think that all of a sudden now, Fred Matiang'i is afraid of the government, is a friend of the government. At a time when Rigi G is preaching, getting them, you know, the money that we've lost has to come back to government. And he's been pointing hands at state capture. When we say state capture, you and I, we're Kenyan journalists, we look at, we interview these guys on a daily basis, we analyze news on a daily basis. Why is the story? The story has to be around Matiang'i, has to be around former president Uhuru Kenyatta, has to be around these big guys who are heading state departments. Ukuri Yatani, similarly now, is in trouble. So when it turns out again that, guys, so we've been directed to drop it. Why did you drop it? Were you convinced that Matiang'i falsely accused you of raiding his house? If indeed he accused you falsely, then why did you not charge him? You know, where is the evidence? That's what I'm saying. You know, we need to ask questions. Maybe now the Law Society of Kenya should come out and also pronounce themselves on this case and say, are you making a mockery of the judicial system in the country and the investigative agencies in the country? If you indeed were convinced that Matiang'i actually did commit that crime, charge him already. What is this thing about dropping cases and saying he can now walk scot-free?
And you talked about the media and matters state capture.
Yeah.
A couple of days ago, we were on the receiving end of the DP's wrath.
Yeah.
Talking about the media and how he will be oversighting the media.
Yeah.
But that aside, it's like you said, it will be very, very interesting. Because now, after the meeting, the said meeting between MPs from the Gusii region and, of course, the president at State House Nairobi, what next? We also do understand that the president is expected to visit Kisii and Nyamira counties, I think on the 24th of this month. That is in a few days' time.
Yeah.
No, next week, certainly, after the mass actions. The biggest question is, will Matiang'i be there?
Mm-hmm.
And if he will be there, what next for the Azimio leaders led by Raila Odinga, who stood by him, and they went to the DCI when it was under siege, because you can never predict anything. It matters politics in this country, and as to whether Matiang'i was guilty of all the charges, the 2 charges that he was accused of, or not, we will never know. Because at the end of the day, this is a story that I'll tell you one thing for sure is that newsrooms, media houses, are fully invested in this particular story, because it was, like you said, a big, big story. But all of a sudden, there's no story. Yeah. Matiang'i is a free man, there's nothing. So we really have to, try and understand and get views on what happened behind closed doors. What was the agenda of the meeting because we also saw Matiang'i, I think yesterday, on Sunday, yeah, he was in a meeting with one Ezekiel Machogu on matters regional development in Kisii County, and of course Nyamira as well, the larger South Nyanza region. And there were a host of MPs, former MPs and sitting MPs, the likes of, but I'd say political newbies, the likes of Anthony Kibagende, who were there. So there's something happening behind the scenes.
Has to be.
The biggest thing that I'm waiting is whether Fred Matiang'i will accompany the president when he tours the larger South Nyanza region.
Yeah.
But away from that, we all know the approach that came with the appointment of one William Ruto. When I talk about William Ruto, I'm not talking about the president, I'm talking about Captain William Ruto, was appointed the boss of the KPA, the Kenya Ports Authority. Now, his appointment caused uproar on social media as, murmurs of tribalism came into the picture, and as to why William Ruto was appointed by the head of state. But I remember I was talking to my colleagues in the newsroom on that particular day, and I told them, as much as people don't complain about where William Ruto, the appointee, comes from, and of course, the boss, that is President William Ruto, Captain William Ruto is a man of experience. He's worked for 31 years. He's worked for KPA for 31 good years, Simba. And he's a man who knows, and to me, for the first time, KPA has someone who's risen from the ranks, who's risen through the ranks, beg your pardon, from being just a mere employee to now being the boss of the KPA. And yesterday you saw hundreds of the 7,000, over 7,000 KPA workers were in jubilant mood, welcoming their new boss. That alone, paints a picture of who this man is. Because in very rare circumstances, you'll see, employees of a certain company or government entity lining up to welcome their new boss. It's a man they've known for years. It's a man who understands their plight. And then, the Daily Nation says here, new KPA boss pledges to put workers first. Having been a port employee for more than 31 years, Mr. William Ruto, or Captain William Ruto, says he understands the concerns of the more than 7,000 dock workers. What do you make of his appointment, Simba?
Rightly so. Well,
because also sometimes, sorry to cut you short, sometimes I feel like we also, need to get over the fact that, we look at appointments we always complain, why are people from one community being appointed? Sometimes as well, we must be critical in trying and understanding the background of, the person who's been appointed. What has he been doing? Where has he been working? At the end of the day, it's as well about, your qualifications.
But then you will understand where it's coming from, isn't it, Keitany?
Yes, I do understand.
Yeah. I mean, there have been studies that have been done around this particular trend in appointments. It looks like two communities are taking almost 3/4 of the appointment we've seen in this particular government. It's a trend that has gone on for some time. Even the previous government, if you really do your studies, again, something that was also highlighted a couple of, I think it was in 2020, when the Labour Department was advising the state appointing agencies to make sure that indeed state appointments are spread across all the communities in the country. I would totally understand where this is coming from. But in some cases, like saying, the man within that particular system, he understands the business. So on merit, yes, definitely, it needs to go in. But then the critics will say, was he the only one? Why? They look at his surname and say, we told you. Yeah, another keep, I would tell you that. But for us, it's an appointment. It was well deserved. If you're going by merit, then it deserves that particular seat. But then if you want to do politics around all the appointments by the president, then you were rightly so as well to question it. Because if you look at what Raila Amolo Odinga has been saying, every time there's a state appointment, it's either going to the Kikuyus or the Kalenjin community in the country. Then he's saying, kwani kuna, quote unquote, kwani kuna makabila mawili pekee kwa hii Kenya, Yes, on a politics, good. But on merit, the new boss is quite deserving.
Yes, man. Lastly, before I, hand it over to you so that you can tell us what is happening on the standard today. Sitting on wealth, they say. Survey shows 970 minerals across the country. Now, Kenya is literally sitting on immense underground wealth of some 970 minerals, which have been classified as potential prospects for further exploration. Now, there's coltan, there's graphite, there's iron, there's manganese, and copper. Those are just 5 of the main minerals that have been identified, and coltan is found in parts of Isiolo County, Embu County, Homa Bay, West Pokot, Nandi, and Kericho counties. Graphite in Embu, Tana River, and Kitui counties. Iron majorly in Kitui County, manganese in Kilifi and Simba County, copper in Kitui, Makueni and Taita Taveta. Now, certainly I've not seen my county over here, but tell you what.
Wait a minute, you wanted to be there?
Yes, I wanted you to be there.
And then I would have seen you tender the official resignation tomorrow. Be like, voila, I've gone to the quarry.
Ingefika of the yangu mnasikia tu.
He's not coming back.
Guys, I'm going home to check on my mom and my dad. But I'm going to check the minerals. This is good money. We're sitting on good money.
Voila.
We're here every day crying about money, but we're sitting on good money.
Yeah.
That particular story, by the way, is on page 10 of the Daily Nation. Get to see which mineral is in your county. And of course, you can be able to maybe, but this is a project that can be undertaken by the county governments.
Yeah.
County governments can. But one funny thing is, most of the time, you find countries in Africa where we have proper minerals, gold and all that. Mm-hmm. They still live, the residents of those areas still live in very deplorable conditions. So at the end of the day, will it help local people? But I'm telling you, getting into page 10 of that particular story, I can actually see my county, Simba.
Yeah.
I can actually see my county.
Yeah.
We do have a chromite in Tambach.
All right.
That is in Elgeyo Marakwet County.
So
I'm afraid, Simba, you'll have to, join me in Elgeyo Marakwet because I'm trying to peruse and see if I can see
Kisii County.
I'm sorry, Simba.
Two. Can you try and say whether we have Kisii County or Nyamira County? I also need to try my options this year.
Sadly, neither is there.
Nothing. Bwana hapo we are mining.
Tu aje tufanye acha tutafute minerals. Mimi nitakuja tubadilishane, nitakuletea a few minerals unipatie ndizi.
I didn't say that.
We can do that, right?
The views expressed by Ian Keitany do not belong to Lookuptv. These personal views. And some of this information that gets to cross over to your TV is not essentially views that we support at Lookuptv. Thank you very much.
It's good business.
It's good business for all those who are watching from Kisii. I didn't say it. He said it. Yeah,
at the end of the day, it's about coexisting. So if me I have something that you don't have, and you have something I don't have, why can't we exchange?
I thought
value for money.
I thought barter trade is no longer supported mode of transaction in capitalism.
Ni huko city. Rudi ushago one. It's happening.
Just leave it. Anyway, here's the thing.
Yes.
On the Standard this morning, when we go to look at it, there's a particular story that I gotta start like this. One, there's some case story that we have here on the Standard about Matiang'i is a case now, as essentially just ended up being nothing. Sometimes, as the media, we like to think there's a big story, but Keitany, no story. But here's how I say. This is the kicker, that as the DPP was arriving at the conclusion to drop charges against former interior CS, a flurry of meetings were taking place to manage Gusii politics, that's the Kisii politics. You want to say right, you say Gusii politics. That's how you say it. All right. Under that, here's what they say. This is a quote from Anthony Kibagendi, just on the sideline of that picture from Matiang'i right there that you're looking at right now. They're saying, we will embrace Matiang'i. I attended the Thursday State House meeting and told the president we need exactly that. I am strongly in ODM and will remain objective. So, Keitany, is it a case of...
I have one concern.
Yeah.
Where do we draw the line between politics and matters of accountability in terms of, being taken into account in terms of what you said and what you've committed in regards to, the law? If you've broken the law, does it mean we can engage in meetings and all that, engage politics in it so that you can save someone? Because at the end of the day, let's assume Matiang'i is, guilty. I'm just saying, let's assume. And then now there's a meeting, and the meeting resolves that is a meeting between maybe possibly the head of state and MPs from that particular region. Let me just use a different example. If today, Simba, you are under investigation for committing an offense. Like they say, conspiracy to commit a felony and all that. And then Ian Keitany, as the head of state, meets with a few members of parliament from a region to discuss matters, politics, and how we can go about it. And then we arrive at a conclusion that we'll drop your case. We'll drop all the charges against you, whether they were legitimate or not, whether they were true or just mere baseless accusations. Where do we stand? Where do we put? And let me ask you, by the way, where does it, now place the investigative authorities, the DC and the DPP? It sort of throws them under the bus.
It does, isn't it?
Yes.
Because all of a sudden, it is. Here's the thing: if you push our guy, we are out. You ain't gonna get our support. We're gonna keep on supporting what your oppositions are doing in a place where you actually need to win. If you are thinking about 2027, isn't it?
Yes, so
it looks like it, isn't it?
Everything's about 2027 now.
Yeah, it's already started. It looks like it. And some people say, if you want to see the true picture of an African president, wait until it starts his final term. So right now it's politics, Keitany, all the way to the end. If you want to see the true picture of William Ruto, then you have to wait until he gets it in 2027. So that's why they say, you see, I don't care now what happens after this, because either way, I'm not going to be looking for your support. So the only thing that I'm going to do is deliver on some of my legacy promises. And that's what we've seen. Majority of the presidents who come out, case in point, Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, when he was just living, you saw exactly the way he behaved in the last term. That's when we started to see the true picture of one retired former president, Uhuru Kenyatta, where he completely fell out with his VP, then, who was Dr. William Ruto. Is it now? Up to now. So instead of saying, we're going to fight corruption to the end, some of the bigger pronouncements we've seen, Keitany, is this one. They said, we're going to get the money that you guys stole. They're even questioning Dr. Fred Matiang'i's wealth. Now, all of a sudden, they're like, bro, just stop it. We wait and see exactly what happens. It's a well-known script. Anyway, Ian Keitany, we have 2 minutes to get out of air for the next part of our conversation. Here's the thing: a pope is now open to priests getting married. Read that story on page 3. Ian Keitany, in a minute. Unajua wewe ni youth leader uko church.
Wapi uko?
Uko church. Uko church.
It's good unasema uko church.
All right. Can we get some sort of base to this? Why is it controversial? It was trending the entire of yesterday.
This is definitely a very controversial topic, but I, like you said, I don't belong to the team, or what do they call it? There's a name. I don't go there, but at the end of the day, I don't know if it is quoted anywhere in the good book that priests are not supposed to be to get married. But talking about the Pope has been at the center of, should I say, quote unquote controversy in the past few weeks or months, because was it last month or was it in January when he said he voiced his sentiments on LGBTQ, the LGBTQ debate, and he said its sentiments did not go well with some of the believers, not only here in the country but across the globe. So it's safe to say I wouldn't really want to comment further on that particular topic, Simba. But I guess it's a free world. As much as we are leaders or church leaders, whoever you are, it's a free world.
It's a free world, isn't it?
That is his opinion.
We ended that.
It doesn't mean that because he said that now all priests should marry. If you belong to those who have a different opinion, fair enough, well and good. You believe in what you believe in, it's free. Nobody's pointing a gun at you telling you must do this. No, it's a free world.
It's a free world.
Yes.
We take a tiny breather right here on the Morning Drift. Once we come back, it's Tuesday, so that's when we look at your personal affairs, your motivation, your things that touch on your personal education. Today, we are asking, what questions should you ask yourself before setting your goals? Once we come back right here on the Morning Drift, the big conversation up next.
Are you a resident of Nairobi? Are you ready for the biggest TV roadshow? Lookuptv and Muthingi TV will be coming to an estate near you starting on the